Hello, everyone. Dom Tiberi here, joined by the one and only Nicole Shearin, and we're smiling because, wow, what a Buckeye victory this was. 41-21, Ohio State dominates Oregon. And, Nicole, I think back about that first meeting when Ohio State lost to the Ducks 32-31 out in Eugene. Yeah. That was a slow burn. You know, they made changes with the defense. And, you know, I like to say defense wins championships.
You love that.
We're going to talk offense in a minute. I just want to give the defense their due. Yeah. They did not have one sack in that first meeting. Dylan Gabriel is having nightmares because he sees Cody Simon, Jack Sawyer, and the Buckeye defense. 8 times he was sacked in this game.
They figured it out. Last time they faced them, they didn't have it figured out. Dylan Gabriel was too mobile in the pocket. It was too much. This time around, Cody said, I'll take 2. Jack said, I'll take 2. JT said, well, I'll hop in there and take 2 also. That was a huge difference maker tonight. I also think the secondary came to play. I mean, we'll get into all of that. But finding Dylan Gabriel and wreaking havoc was the key to that win tonight.
Well, and Ohio State dominated the line of scrimmage. They got pressure. As I said, 8 sacks. The first meeting, Oregon had nearly 500 yards of offense, 341 through the air. They had 276 yards of total offense.
And how many rushing yards, Tom?
Negative 25. Negative 25. Yep. I mean, if you can play like that on defense, you're going to win a national championship. And to me, Ohio State just took a major step in that direction. And, you know, with the way this defense is now playing, they've got their swagger. I just love watching Jack and Cody and those guys. They are having so much fun, not only on the field, but on the sidelines. Yeah. They don't want this thing to end.
They were due for an outing like this. I feel like throughout the season, we saw sparks of Jack having a game, Cody having a game, JT, but it's the perfect way to tie the bow on their season where all 3 of those guys have an incredible game together. You know, like I think it's the perfect way to cap it off.
All right, now let's flip to the other side of the ball, and let me just say something. Everyone said the same thing going in. Get the ball to your best players. And what we witnessed, at least in the first quarter of the first half, that may have been the greatest first quarter of football I've ever seen. Jeremiah Smith is
not
phenomenal.
Human.
I mean, the fact that he was not the freshman of the year just blows my mind with what he did. He had nearly 200 yards receiving in this game and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, well, it's what I told you, Dom, before the game is I said, I want to see the Buckeyes come out like how they came out against Tennessee. And that's exactly what we saw today. I mean, they went into the locker room. It was 34-8. The offense was on fire in the first half. Jeremiah Smith, he plays like he's played 5 years in the NFL. We've talked about that all season.
He's a freshman.
He's literally a freshman, which is just crazy when you think about it. But what I loved is how his gameplay out there. I mean, those were dropping literal dimes. They were perfect throws. Yes, he has the receivers to make those catches, but I keep replaying that throw to Emeka. I mean, in coverage, it was beautiful. Beautiful.
The NFL scouts are going.
Yeah.
Because he dropped it right in there perfectly.
Perfectly placed.
And then Emeka, because the ball actually got tipped a little bit, and the concentration he had to make the grab. Emeka played incredible in this game. Will Howard, and I'm glad you bring him up because you root for this guy. He is a good kid. He is, you know, a leader. He wears his heart on his sleeve. He's a competitor. And he took that loss. He talked about it. He talked like a man about when they lost to him the first time out there in Eugene. Yep. And, you know, he slid, and that picture of him sitting on the ground like, what happened? And for him then to be able to leave the field out in Pasadena, all smiles, I just felt so good for that kid.
Well, he said he had nightmares after that last game. I mean, who wouldn't?
And you know what? He's going to have good dreams now because that was an incredible game that he played. He threw for over 300 yards against this Oregon defense, and you know what? It was just outstanding. One of the greatest performances I've ever seen. You know, Nicole, I used to say that the 3 greatest games I ever saw in Ohio State history was the national championship run back in 2014 when Ohio State beat Wisconsin in the Big Ten title game to to get into the college playoff. Then they beat Alabama in the Sugar Bowl, dominated that game, and then they really just destroyed Oregon to win the national title. If Ohio State now can do this 4-game, and right now I would say they're the favorite.
Yep.
Folks, I still feel like Oregon and Ohio State were the two best teams, but I just think Ohio State is that much better. Obviously, now they're going to meet Texas. And Texas is lucky to be where they're at.
They barely squeaked by.
They should have lost.
And I think that's also, I think Ohio State was the favorite going into this, but I think the way Ohio State performed against the #1 team in the country compared to the way Texas performed against Arizona State separates themselves by a lot.
And I think it'll change because last week Vegas had Texas as the favorite to win, and Ohio State was the second favorite. After what we witnessed in this game, but you still got to go out and do it. Weird things can happen. I've had more people text me saying, where was this offense against Michigan?
Yeah.
You know what? That aberration's gone.
Right.
Forget about it. It's over. I wish we could play them again. I wish Ohio State could get another crack at them. Michigan, congratulations. They ended the season on a positive note. They beat Alabama. Texas is lucky to be in there, and that's the only thing I care about. You know what? If Ohio State wins the national title, that's all that matters. And I think now Ohio State is 2 wins away from winning it. They're now going to play Texas. It's going to be a home game for Texas.
It is. Yep.
The game's going to be played in Dallas, Jerry World. And, Ohio State's had a lot of luck in that place. That's where they won the national title when they beat Oregon. And I really believe that Ohio State is the better team. Quinn Ewers, of course, was a Buckeye here for a cup of coffee. I think he had 2 snaps the whole time he was here. But, we are talking about 2 cities, Austin and Columbus, that are very similar. We are talking about the 2 biggest college towns in America, in my opinion, talking about Columbus and Austin. They travel well. They're going to support their Longhorns. But let me tell you something. Buckeye Nation supports too. But I don't think it really matters to this football team right now. Ohio State, it's always been us against the world. And ever since that loss to Michigan, I don't know, whatever, the chip
it lit a fuel
that this football team has, the fire that Ryan Day has, the fire that the players have. I mean, they want to win it all now because, that's the only goal that's left. And I love what I'm seeing right now. I just love it. And I love the emotion these kids have. And I said it before, Will Howard's a good kid. There's a lot of good kids. These kids are all good on this football team. I mean, they're good kids, nice kids. And you root for people like that.
Well, I feel like this Buckeye team, too, when you bring up that people are kind of saying, where has this team been this whole season? I don't think of it like that because they're peaking when it matters most. Yes, you could say, where was this team against Michigan? But hey, it doesn't really matter anymore because the ultimate goal that these guys, they had 3, they didn't get the 2, but the last one's still on the table. They're peaking when it matters most. If they're playing their best football in January, I'm okay with that. I'm great with that. And I think it's one of those things. I honestly, Dom, I love this Texas matchup because I think obviously there's a lot of storylines, like you said, with Quinn Ewers and the 2 fan bases, the 2 big college cities who love college sports. But Texas is coming to Columbus next season, first game of the year. Kind of fun that they get to see them a little earlier now, And I think in some ways, this Texas-Ohio State teams, they have similarities. But I agree with you that the Longhorns are vulnerable. I've said it all season. I think they're vulnerable. Ohio State has that edge in certain categories, and I like the matchup. I really do.
Well, it's going to be fun to see. And don't forget, next season, I think the Buckeyes open really early in the year.
August
with Texas,
31st or 30th
like
with the Longhorns.
So we're going to get a look at them here, and then in a few months we're going to play them again. I just think about what this team has been able to do. And, I talk to folks about what we're witnessing. There's going to be a learning curve. Yeah, you want to beat Michigan, but we're witnessing Ohio State and college football become professional football. And this is what we're looking at now, folks. And in the professional world, this was what, their 14th game? They're going to play
It's a different world now.
They're going to maybe play 16 games this season.
Yep.
The NFL plays what, 17?
Yeah.
So I mean, and fatigue and pressure and all that's going to be part of the deal. But I liked what I saw out of Ohio State, the emotion and the way. And you're right, they're peaking at the right time. And who knows? I still think, and I don't want to make you mad because I like you, Nene. I call her Nene. She taught me that dance. Anyways, what I want to say is I still think it could be Ohio State and Penn State for the national title. Nothing against your dogs.
Is that because it's because Carson Beck isn't playing? I get it.
Well, I mean, that's the other thing.
I get it.
These conference championships, what are they good for?
I know.
Ohio State didn't play in it. They wanted to be in it. But how about if you go there and you get someone hurt?
Yeah, I know.
What did Georgia get out of it? They're a quarterback hurt.
Yeah, not a whole lot. You're right. I will say one thing, too, Dom, that I like. You know, I feel like each game recently, the Buckeyes have had extra motivation to win. Like, this one was redemption against Oregon. We remember the Cotton Bowl ending. Wasn't great for the Buckeyes.
Right.
They're
going back there.
They're going back to rewrite that story in a different way. And I think this Ohio State team, those extra layers of motivation, that's the difference maker. That's where the fire comes from.
Let me tell you, I think Penn State has a great shot to get there. And, you know, I love our weather guy, Jerry Martz. That would make him very happy.
But you don't love me more?
I love you because part of me would love to see Georgia get there. I'm just telling you what I think of that.
Okay.
I want Georgia to, because think about the redemption tour this
That's what I'm saying. That's what I was getting at.
Think about the total redemption tour.
We all remember that missed kick. It's another redemption story.
Remember the Cotton Bowl. They want to go in and they want to, do a better job there.
Right the wrongs.
And then we remember when Georgia should have just wore ski masks. There is no thing called targeting.
We saw that
Marvin
against
Harrison
Texas
Jr.
and Arizona
was publicly
State
mugged, and they let it go. I mean, Ohio State wins that game if they call it the right way.
Ohio State wins the national championship if they call it the right way.
Yes.
Really.
Yes.
So
Georgia got it, but it should have been Ohio State.
Yep.
But
that's what I'm saying. They have redemption through these games that matter, and I think that's the difference.
So either one, if Penn State or Georgia gets there, it's going to be redemption time.
Yes, but
right?
they first got to get through the Longhorns.
Yes, they got to get by the Longhorns.
That's first up.
So.
But as they've said too, just for everyone to remember, these are business trips. They're not the bowl trips like we're used to, where you're sightseeing and you're doing all that. It's business for the Buckeyes. They're on Buckeye time always.
Yeah, and for the just so you know, for the trip to Dallas, they play on the 10th of January, which is a Friday. The way I understand it, they're going in so that they'll go in Wednesday night. Mm-hmm. And then they have their media day on the day before the game, and then they play the game, and then boom, they're out.
It's not a bowl trip anymore.
Yeah, and I don't think it's going to be a very long trip to Atlanta either. These because the media.
But you know what? I like that personally. I think, maybe that's how they lock in a little better. They're not there as long. There's not as much time before the game. It's like, all right, we're here to play. Let's go play.
It's like the NFL.
Yeah,
So
that's what it's becoming. We've talked about it.
All right. Well, this is Nicole Shearin. I call her Nene.
That's
I'm Dom Tiberi.
One of these days, Dom will Nene for all of you. Maybe not today.
You posted it. We never want to see that again.
I know, but maybe they do.
We never
comment if you want to see Dom Nene again.
We never want to see that again. I didn't know what she was talking about, and apparently it's a dance. Anyways, Nicole Shearin, Dom Tiberi, keep it on 10 TV, 10 TV Plus, 97.1 The Fan for all your Buckeye coverage needs.